All right, so I wanted to update my analysis that I did, and I wanted to include cost of living adjustments and the argument that I get from some people, which basically says, you know what, I'll take it when I'm 62, but I won't touch it. And I'll put it in the market, and I'll make money on that money, and I'll do better than what Social Security ultimately will give me. Okay, at 70. So I did that analysis, and we can kind of go through it. I think it's kind of interesting. So again, if you remember, when I'm at full retirement, I'm going to get $2,000. When I'm I'm at 62, I'm going to get $1,400. When I'm at age 70, I'm going to get 2,480. Cost of living adjustment over the last 10 years has averaged out to be about 2.6%. And the average S&P returns have been 13.3%, right? Which is much higher than the historical average, which is roughly 10%. So the last 10 years have been pretty good, right? So it's a good data point to kind of look at. All right. So as you can see, my $1,400 in year one is going to give me this amount. If I apply this 2.6 growth rate across the entire time, all the way up until I'm 100, I'll get up to the point where I'm making $44,500 a year, right? Now, my cumulative payments, you can see, is about 1.1 million over the course of my life if I live to 100, which I may not. Maybe I only live to 90 and it's 714,000. So think about that. And then I assumed in the first 8 years, from the time I turned 62 to the time I turned 70, I'm going to get a market return and I'm not going to touch this money, which is a very rare case. And I think almost any of us would be hard pressed to take all that money and put it in the market. You'd have to have some other income stream. So it's not exactly a realistic scenario, but maybe some of the people who are wealthier have that luxury. I'm not sure that I would, but it's a fair point. So we'll say that you have other income streams, and you're not going to touch this money. You're going to let it grow in the market, right? And so you can see that in the first year, it's going to grow. I'm going to earn about 2234. In the second year, because I'm going to get the payments from both years, and it's not exactly accurate because you're going to get this money monthly, so you're not going to have all this money for the second year. But I gave it the benefit of the doubt, right? And I said, okay, well, not only will I'll have the growth on 34,000 over for that year, and in the next year I'll have that additional growth. So you can see that by the 8th year, I'm making a lot of money because I've got all this money sitting in the market. And so I'm doing pretty good, right? I've got growth on the cumulative amount because I'm letting it sit, right? So I did pretty well. But in the end, you can see that my market returns here is about 107,000, right? Across those 6 years or those 8 years. So if I add 107,000 to this number, I'm going to get roughly 1,219,952, right? Not bad, right? But had I not done all of that, and I just elected when I was 70, I still am going to beat that. I'm still going to be about 169,000 ahead of the game, right? Now, maybe I look at it and I say, okay, I'm only going to live to 90. So if I live to 90, it gets a little closer, right? If I live to 90, maybe it evens out. The one thing that's not here is in this scenario is the survivorship benefit that's going to transfer on to my heir, to my wife or my spouse. So you can start to see, it does change the mix a little bit. But the question I think you got to really ask yourself is, are you really in a position to not touch this money? If you're in that position, then you can get a little extended growth. and a strategy like take and invest may work to your advantage. But I have another approach that I think will be much better for you. And I'm gonna do that analysis and I'll let everybody know what that is. But essentially, that is instead of that, I take it 70, but I only take the amount that I would have gotten. I'm going to get obviously this full amount, this 29,472, but I'm going to take um, uh, of that, I'm going to take 20,000, six 29,47, which is how much I would have gotten if I had elected at 62. And the rest I'm going to leave in the market, right? I'm going to let that grow and we're going to see what that number looks like. It's going to be kind of interesting.